Okay, today I'm super happy to present you a demo with forms and a new chatbot with an AI agent. Because a lot of customers have super big Oracle Forms application, and it could be nice to integrate that with a new AI chatbot agent. Okay, so the start. I am on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. I created a Forms VM starting from the image of the marketplace as usual, and I use the Forms image UC. It means the license are included in the pricing. So super easy to use, okay? But I imagine that you know that. I start from this VM. You can see Oracle Forms is started, not there. Just to remind, it's running because I did a test. Okay. So just the time to refresh the screen, but believe me, it's running. I use this form. Okay. But I show you this form in a previous video. So please go to my previous video for the integration of forms with an HTML JavaScript application, because this is the start. Okay, and you need to master that before understanding this new video. Okay, this video is on my YouTube channel. Okay, so let's go. Just to study that. Remember, I have no recommendation to do. I just want to ask questions, and sometimes you have to find the answer yourself. And so I will propose you some architecture, but at the end, you need to do a POC to validate this architecture. And at the end, I will ask question, and I have no answer for the moment because I need time to study the final result. Okay. So I started from this demo coming from Michael Ferrante. Okay. As you see, and I explained that on my previous YouTube video. Okay. So the goal is Forms is able to send data to an HTML JavaScript application using a local WebSocket server running on the customer desktop. Okay. And so you can send information from Forms to HTML application, for example, Apex or something else, and send information from HTML JavaScript to Forms application. Okay. Here on Forms, you are using a development from the Oracle Forms team. Okay, so you use a PLL and an object library with a Java bean to do that. And here you are using JavaScript, okay, in order to connect, begin the session with the web server socket and send data. So remember, WebSocket is a standard, okay? First possibility. Okay, so the use case is I want that my chatbot knows the context in Forms application. Where is the cursor? Where is the customer on the screen? The block name, the username, the name of the module, and so on. And because in order to give an answer to a question, it is nice for the AI chatbot to know what is the context. You are in this screen in Forms. And so, as I have this information, my answer will be better. The first architecture that you can do is, Forms is really DB-centric. So you use SQL, PL SQL, and you can do a direct call or not a direct call using the DB to the LLM REST API or to your own REST API that expose a LLM service. Okay. Here, so two options. You call directly the REST API, or you use a package in the Oracle DB and you use UTL _HTTP or Apex Web Service packages in order to do the call. This is the solutions to today. I didn't do a test. Okay. Now, you want to send the context to database when the cursor moves on the screen here each time. So you use a trigger. When new item instant, each time you store the context here, it means on your AI agent, you can use a tool SQL, and the AI agent calls the tool SQL to get the from context before answering to the question. Personally, I don't like this solution because you do too many insert in the Oracle DB, and you need to commit each insert. So I have not a gut feeling with the solution, but why not? Okay. Another possibility, fast context, is sent to the HTML JavaScript application when the cursor moves. It means when new item instant, each time you send the information using the WebSocket local server. There you have many inserts, but the data transmission is limited to the web server socket and not so in the Oracle DB. So it's not so bad. You can do that. Data is stored on the HTML JavaScript application, for example, in the local memory of the browser. And then the chatbot uses this information before giving an answer. Another option. Okay, you can have a more intelligent integration. It means chatbot. Each time you ask a question, the chatbot asks forms to get the context. Then forms get the event. Okay. Then do a job and query the cursor position, block name, item name, module, and so on, and send that to the HTML JavaScript application. And then the AI agent can use the context before giving an answer. Okay. So this time, as you see, we do not send information from forms to somewhere each time on each move in the field of the UI, okay? But only when the chatbot needs to have the answer. Okay, another solution. Personally, I love Python today with AI agent, so I did my own integration with another architecture. On this architecture, as you see, you can use an Apex module. So it means you can develop a new modern Apex module and you can use this kind of integration with Apex. Here, you can use AI chatbot with another technology, because WebSocket is a standard. So it means you can do your own implementation in order to communicate with the WebSocket local server. So if I want to do my own chatbot using Python, for example, I will show you. It means I need to get the context from forms each time I ask a question. So in this demo, in fact, before sending an answer, okay, the chatbot send a request to forms. Please store the information context in the DB, okay? And then I can use a SQL tool, from the agent to get the context. But it means I only store the context of forms when I need to answer to a question and not all the time, okay? Just to show you that, okay? The first thing, comparing to the previous video with HTML, JavaScript, and so on, the first thing is that I ask Claude AI to reproduce the connection to the local web server socket. And really, it did that in 30 seconds. It was super easy. Okay. After that, I just write a code to use an agent. Okay. The goal of the agent is to answer to question regarding the forms application. And then before answering to the question, I say to the agent, please get the context and ask for the context to the forms application before and get it with your tool, SQL tool. Okay. And that's what I have done. So I can start my forms application here. Okay. As you can see, I can start the local here WebSocket server. Nice. I begin the session. Okay. Because the session is here to be able to know who is doing a communication with the web server socket. Okay. And then with my Python code, with an OpenAI agent, I can run that, run all. Okay. And so during the first step, okay, I have my Python code to reproduce the connection to WebSocket server. Then I can do a test. Then here, okay, I do a mock tool to get information from the DB, but it's very simple to implement a real SQL tool. And in forms, okay, in forms, in fact, here it's the same. In forms, I reproduce in the here in the forms, I reproduce the way in order to get information. As you see a message here, it's because I received the message from my test, and I see here, but I click here, now it's empty, the block name and the field name. So super simple. Okay. Okay, it started. And now, just to have a look here on my server, as you see, connection peer. Okay, and I can ask to please to the chatbot help me with this form screen. Okay. Okay. Then the chatbot send, okay, an event here in the forms application. Forms application can store the context in the Oracle DB of forms. Then the agent can use and do a request in the Oracle DB to get the context. So it's quite fast, really, it's quite fast. And you see your cursor is in the forms application, in the module, blah, 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 in the block, the field. Okay, so my answer is blah, 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 blah. I put simulated RAG here because sure, it's super interesting to use a RAG tool with your agent. You can put all the documentation of your forms application in a RAG, and so you can ask that with the AI agent and have a nice answer regarding the context that you get from forms. Okay, as you see, a lot of question, and at the end, more question, because I can do here. Okay, but what about security? I see I use WS on the protocol with a web server, but why not SSL? Okay, plus token-based authentication, sorry, restrict origin or course policy, and so on and so on. So a question about what about the security if I run a WebSocket server locally on the customer desktop? Okay, you need to study that. Remember, at the end, another question, sorry, what about running the web server socket not on the local user desktop but on a remote server? Why not? It could be nice and more easy to use. Okay. At the end, remember, you can always be creative, do your own solution, your own Java Bean used by Oracle Forms, your own WebSocket server code, your own Kafka code, or you can use advanced queuing here, okay, or blah, 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 and so on, okay? If you use Oracle solution, mainly the only question if you use it in a way that is supported, yes or not. You need to ask the question, you know. For example, I replace the code of JavaScript with my Python code. Is it supported? Okay. So remember, a lot of questions, a lot of possibilities. You can be creative and you need to check things before choosing the final solution. But as you can see, you can integrate easily a Forms application with a new AI chatbot. And that's the good news because a lot of Forms application are used today and a lot of Forms applications are deployed today on Oracle Cloud. Thank you for your attention.